So, 30 days later, holding her every morning and holding her every night, it actually got to where I didn't like not holding her in my meditations. I did get to where I could sit her on my altar and let her be with me. I found out, notice I took my ring off. It's not just a matter of not ever wanting to be putting something hard against her, but she doesn't vibrate if I have anything on my hands when I touch her. She doesn't like to be oiled, although she is fine with being cleaned with alcohol. Or someone suggested that to me, and I thought, ooh, it sounds almost cruel. She loves it. It cleans her and shines her, doesn't dull her. She really enjoys that. She doesn't mind being anointed with water. She loves being in the sun. She loves being in the moon. Doesn't like oil. Loves incense. So, you're thinking, okay, you have crazy old lady. How do you know she loves this or that? How can you be anthropomorphizing her to the point that you think you know what she feels? Her vibration changes. She communicates. She communicates. I have learned that she is an entity. She is a being. She is a creature. She is a creature. She is not simply a reflection. She's not simply a meditative tool, a tool of the psyche, a tool of focus. I honestly believe that what happens is our energy combined with that energy manifests into something. I don't need to know what the something is, but something happens that doesn't happen when you're working alone. Now, I work alone a lot. She likes to be present in everything I do, and actually she's such a partner to me at this point in my life. I want her to be present in everything I do. But I don't always work with her, if you know what I mean. She's actually a witness very often. But when I use her, for me, for calming, for centering, for two things. First, which is understandable at the level of the psyche, which is going into my inner self. To the reflection is the reflection back of here to here, into me, and me, something's rising up in me. So as a window or a portal. But I've also discovered that she is a portal to energies from the other side. It's not her specifically. It is what it's like the two of us can create something that forces on the energetic level, the plane of forces or the etheric level, recognize. It's a hum that is recognized, almost like a magnet where it calls something. And I have learned to be careful when I am using her, knowing I am projecting through her, to know what I'm projecting for. That just to use her to project and open up, I don't like the unpredictability of what might be experienced then, because my relationship with her has been one of shared power, almost a learning and growing together. Wisdom, that's why she's named Sophia, that early on, the insight that she brought me with her vibration and what it did to me and how it calmed me and how my brain would then process things differently. I tend to be a little bit of a hyper individual and jump to conclusions and can be either overly emotional or overly cold, in the sense that I will turn off emotions if I'm struggling with dealing with them. And one of the things that she does for me is her vibration slows me down. I've had other friends who have described their relationships with their ball, and the energy juices them up. Their metabolism is they are a little bit lethargic, and the vibration, the combination of the vibration, kind of revs them up. So I had thought after that experience that there is something about having a relationship with a crystal that is a balancer. In fact, a great balancer. Very important thing that she does for me. She takes away migraines. Whatever the energy is neurologically when I get migraines, she doesn't do so good with things like sinus headaches, things like that. But when it's neurological, she does a really good job with that. I have a lot of pain with lupus, and the pain with lupus is actually phantom pain. There's often not really something wrong, but your screwed up immune system thinks something's wrong, so it reports it to your brain that way. And I have learned that she knows the difference. And if I lay her on a joint, my hands that I'm having problems with, or other places in my body, it's like she knows what's real pain And she, through her vibrations, our shared vibration, stills pain that is actually phantom pain. That the vibration that's created stills it for me. I do use her for divination. I have found that I use her in combination with the elements. So it will be a candle for fire sometimes. Incense, incense smoke moving around her will have certain patterns. I think because, once again, the vibration that she creates, that we create. I love smoke scrying, and I found that a lot of powerful smoke scrying happens around her. Divination in the sense of, especially when there is more than, I hate to refer to her like she's an 8-ball. You know that 8-ball that used to shake and it would say yes or no or whatever. When I'm not sure about something and I'm thinking about something, I've done some work with tarot or runes, and I come down to where it's this or it's this, almost always, by holding her and thinking about it, by the vibration she makes, one or the other thing will be the thing that I need to do. She's a good yes, no when I'm making a decision. So I can make decisions between two things and the vibration shifts and changes. The temperature shifts and changes. So she's good for between two things, and she's good for yes, no. She magnifies what I do. I have found that when I use her as a partner in spell work, when I send the energy that I want to manifest, when I envision it on the other side where I believe it manifests and then is duplicated on this side, so that's my traditional take on how magic works. When I use her, which is literally by looking into her, literally by having her present on my altar, by having a candle behind her, by bathing her in water if I'm calling to the forces of water, whenever I use her in combination with elemental magic, which all my magics are elemental magics, it's magnified. It's like you took what I was doing and it was going hum, and she handles it, and it's like if it's coming through her and it heads off to the plane of forces, it heads off going and it just magnifies. And if I hadn't had the good advice from my mentor, where they had this amazing relationship with a ball throughout their entire life, who said, you just need to get one, see what it's going to be, hold it morning and night, be in the sun with it, be in the moon with it, and wait and see what happens. And it's almost a symbiotic relationship. I do believe that. I do believe that it's for the crystal as well as it is for me, that I believe that I become something magnified when my vibration is added to and blended with the vibration of Sophia. I do believe it happens the other way, that there's a potential there that she actually reaches, that is, she's better off for the vibration of the two of us. It's like having a crystal familiar. It's like having a partner. It's like having, I have referred to her often as my crystal Anamkara. It is something that tells me the blunt truth. Something that tells me the blunt truth. I had a reason once to be terribly upset, distraught over something, and took her in my hands because I thought I could find solace from the energy that we created together. And she was as dull and as quiet. It terrified me. It's not a relationship I'd ever had with her. I eventually realized that I was actually up to my eyeballs in a very huge wave of self-pity over something that had happened in my life, and I was allowing myself to be very emotional. Not in a healthy sense. It was like, poor me, and a lot of emotion came out. I realized later that she did not accept what I brought her because it was not healthy, and it was not honest. It was coming from the wrong place. Really, in the end, what it comes down to is, the questions I've got is, where did you find her? I didn't touch her. I ordered her from an online store. Then what did you do? Opened the box and thought, what now? I'm a witch with a crystal ball. No idea. I mean, it could have been a knick-knack on the shelf for all I felt. And then the advice I received was, morning and night, sun and moon, for a month. with no expectations except to hold it every day, to have it present when I did work. One of the pieces of advice that I got that felt so corny when I first did it was she should know all the parts of our body. We should feel comfortable just using her as a massage, moving her around, feeling her, touching her. I felt like an idiot for probably 2 weeks. But there was a point at which my vibration level and hers were so obviously coming together for me that I started to get it. And nothing I read has ever helped me. No one I ever talked to until the point at which this person shared some of how they were actually taught by an elder. And then they passed it on to me, how to develop a relationship with a crystal. So I encourage you to do what I did. When there comes a time in your life that you can afford to get yourself something, go for it. Do not think it has to be flawless. Do not think it has to be expensive or big. In fact, I discourage it from being big. My experience of what the ball is to me is an entity which I need to hold and cradle. And while you may be the kind of person who can set it down, look at it and something happens, that's not the relationship I've had with it. So if I'm going to share my personal experience of it, this is what it is. Go for it. Get yourself even a 50 millimeter one, 55 millimeter, I think it is, the 2-inch ones, instead of going up to this step. And by all means, don't spend a lot of money. Honestly, I spent about $90 for Sophia. I could have gotten one that was, I think, the 2-inch size, probably for 60 or 70 bucks. She has a couple of inclusions. She's not perfect. And in fact, they have been a very important part of who she is, part of her personality. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take having to go to store and find the perfect one to hold in your hands. It's what you make of it once you have it. It's what it is when you have it. And allow yourself, when you first open the package or the box or pick it up in a store, to go, oh, it's so pretty. Well, now what? And give it the 30 days. I will guarantee you, if you give it the 30 days, when someone as you can see, Ernie loves it too. Ernie and Sophia, they're buddies. Maybe you can't see him in this frame, but he's here staring at her. He actually comes into my altar room very often, because the altar is an old hope chest from my family, and so it's low to the ground. And he sits in front of it, and he stares into Sophia when her cover is off. Don't expect anything at first. You may be surprised and find something at first, especially if you're someone who's very, very in tune with the vibration of crystal. You know, we all vibrate at different levels too, and one of the things I learned is that my supposition is that we don't all pick up a crystal and have a reaction to it, because we all vibrate at different levels. The crystals all vibrate at slightly different levels. And it takes a while to figure out where the point is that you harmonize rather than have a discordant kind of energy at each other. I see a lot of things on YouTube about technique, and I see a lot of the threats on you must buy this or you can't do that, and my experience has been your ball is going to tell you what your ball wants, and your body is going to tell you how it relates to the ball, and vice versa. If you are already in relationship with the crystal, tell me what it is for you, because I'm still learning and growing. Sophia and I have only been together for a couple of years, and I still have a long way to go with my relationship with her. I would love to hear some of the things you've done and tried, because I have a lot of play left to do. And let me leave on that note. I found that getting to know Sophia that first month and the first times I was working with her, it felt like being at play in the land of the gods. It was fun. There was nothing heavy or deep about it. We've had our moments since, but it seemed like, and I know everybody says that crystals have different personalities. Yours may not be the same as mine. With Sophia, we played. We got to know each other. We got to know each other, and we played, and we had a good time. We almost giggled our way into a vibrational relationship. If you are looking into this and have other questions, feel free to ask me. And if you already have a relationship with a crystal, I would love to know a little bit more about it from you, with suggestions from me on things to try and to do, or even just I'm curious to know how it was different for you, because I have a feeling this is different for every single one of us, because we are different and because no two crystals are going to vibrate the same. They all have their individual personalities. So I look forward to hearing from you. So from me and Sophia, I wish you mirth and reverence. Mary Park.